Someone knocked at my door at 5 a.m. Not a gentle tap, not a polite ring of the doorbell. 3 sharp, desperate pounds that jolted me from the deepest sleep I'd had in months. I stumbled to the peephole, my heart already racing, and saw my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, standing there in her bathrobe, her face twisted with terror I'd never seen before. When I opened the door, she grabbed my arm with trembling fingers and whispered, "Alyssa, don't go to work today. Promise me, don't go to work." The way she said it, like she was trying to save my life, that's when I knew my world was about to collapse. Again. My name is Alyssa Rowan. I'm 33 years old, a senior financial analyst at Morrison and Associates downtown, and up until that morning, I was the kind of person who never missed work, never called in sick, never took mental health days. Work was my sanctuary, my proof that I could build something stable after everything fell apart when I was 16. See, that's when my father died. David Rowan, respected biochemist, loving dad, the man who taught me that truth was the most valuable currency in the world. One day he was helping me with calculus homework. The next day he was gone. Car accident, they said. Black ice, they said. Single vehicle collision on a road he'd driven 1,000 times. I threw myself into school after that, then college, then work. Routine became my religion. Predictability became my prayer. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., I'd take the same route to Morrison and Associates, sit at the same desk on the 14th floor, analyze the same financial portfolios, eat lunch at the same cafe across the street. For 17 years, this had been my life, boring, safe, mine. Mrs. Chen knew this about me. Everyone in our building knew this about me. I was the reliable one, the one who always had her life together, the one who never caused drama or missed rent or brought strange men home at all hours. So when she begged me not to go to work that Tuesday morning, with tears streaming down her wrinkled cheeks, every instinct I had screamed that I should listen. But I didn't. God help me. I didn't listen. The first sign should have been the phone calls. 3 of them, all from blocked numbers, all in the past week. Each time I answered, there was nothing but breathing on the other end. Not heavy breathing like some pervert. This was different, controlled, patient, like someone was listening to me breathe back. The second sign was the man in the gray sedan. I'd noticed him parked across from our building for 4 days straight. Different times, same car, same man pretending to read a newspaper. When I mentioned it to Mrs. Chen, she went pale and started checking her locks obsessively. The third sign was my computer at work. Files I'd never seen before kept appearing in my documents folder. Financial records for companies I'd never heard of. Research data about something called Project Lazarus. And every time I tried to delete them or ask my supervisor about them, they'd vanish, like they were never there at all. But the fourth sign, that's what should have sent me running. Yesterday, I'd received a package at work with no return address. Inside was a single photograph. Me, walking out of Morrison and Associates, taken from across the street. On the back, someone had written in red ink, "She has her father's eyes." Her father's eyes. Not your father's eyes. Like I was being watched by someone who knew him, someone who remembered him, someone who'd been waiting 17 years for something. I should have stayed home. I should have listened to Mrs. Chen. I should have trusted the ice-cold fear that had been growing in my stomach for weeks. Instead, I did what I always did when things got complicated. I went to work. At 2:47 p.m., while I was reviewing quarterly reports and trying to pretend my hands weren't shaking, my phone rang. Unknown number, but not blocked this time. I almost didn't answer it. "Is this Alyssa Rowan?" "Yes, who is this?" This is Detective Martinez with the Metropolitan Police. Ms. Rowan, I need you to stay calm. There's been an incident at your workplace. My blood turned to ice water. What kind of incident? There was a violent attack at Morrison and Associates approximately 30 minutes ago. Multiple casualties. The building is currently under lockdown. I looked around my office, at my coworkers typing at their computers, at the normal Tuesday afternoon unfolding exactly as it always did. I'm sorry, Detective, but I'm at Morrison and Associates right now. I'm sitting at my desk. There's no attack. There's no lockdown. I think you have the wrong Ms. Rowan. His voice cut through my confusion like a blade. Our security footage shows you entering the building at 6:47 a.m. this morning. It also shows you in the 14th floor break room at 2:15 p.m., approximately 2 minutes before the attack began. The phone slipped from my hand and clattered to the floor. I stared at my computer screen, at the familiar spreadsheet I'd been working on, at the coffee cup I'd refilled 20 minutes ago. Everything was exactly where it should be. Everything was normal. Except I was supposed to be in a building under lockdown. Except security cameras had apparently recorded me being somewhere I definitely was. Except people were dead, and somehow I was involved. I picked up the phone with trembling fingers. Detective, I don't understand. I'm here. I'm at work. I've been here all day. Ma'am, I need you to listen very carefully. The Morrison and Associates building was evacuated at 2:45 p.m. following a chemical attack. The entire 14th floor is contaminated. Everyone who was on that floor at the time of the incident is either dead or in critical condition. The room started spinning. The spreadsheet on my screen flickered, and for just a moment, I could swear the numbers changed. The familiar hum of the office seemed to distort, like a radio losing signal. Ma'am, Ms. Rowan, are you still there? Yes, I'm here. I need you to come to the station immediately for questioning. We have footage of you leaving the building at 2:16 p.m., 1 minute after the attack began. You were running, and Ms. Rowan, you were covered in blood. I don't remember hanging up the phone. I don't remember leaving my desk or walking to the elevator or stepping outside into the gray October afternoon. What I remember is standing on the sidewalk across from Morrison and Associates, staring up at the building where I'd supposedly been working all day, and seeing nothing but shattered windows and emergency vehicles and yellow tape. The 14th floor, my floor, was dark, not just empty dark, but wrong dark. Like the electricity had been cut, like something had burned out every light from the inside. You're not where you think you are. I spun around. A man stood behind me, maybe 45, with kind eyes and the tired face of someone who'd seen too much. He wore a rumpled suit and held a manila envelope thick with documents. Who are you? My name is Gabriel Torres. I was your father's research partner. He held up the envelope. And I've been looking for you for 17 years. The anger hit me like a physical blow. 17 years. 17 years of thinking I was alone in the world, of building a life on the foundation of my father's memory, of believing that car accident was just a random tragedy that destroyed my family. And this stranger, this man who claimed to know my father, had been looking for me all this time? My father was a biochemist. He worked for the university. He died in a car accident when I was 16. My voice was shaking with rage now. He didn't have research partners. He didn't have secrets. He was just a good man who died too young. Gabriel's expression was infinitely sad. Alyssa, your father wasn't just a biochemist. He was the lead researcher on a classified government project called Lazarus, and his death wasn't an accident. Stop! The word came out as a snarl. Stop lying to me. I don't know who you are or what sick game you're playing. But my father? Your father discovered that the government was using his research to create something monstrous, something that violated every principle he believed in. So he tried to destroy it. Gabriel stepped closer, and I could see the pain in his eyes. They killed him for it, Alyssa, and they've been watching you ever since, waiting to see if you inherited his abilities. Abilities? I laughed, but it sounded hysterical even to me. What abilities? I'm a financial analyst. I analyze spreadsheets and attend budget meetings and eat the same turkey sandwich for lunch every day. I don't have abilities. Then explain how you were in two places at once today. Gabriel opened the envelope and pulled out a photograph. Security camera footage, timestamp clearly visible. Me walking into Morrison and Associates at 6:47 a.m. Then another photo. Me running out of the same building at 2:16 p.m. My clothes torn and stained with what was definitely blood. I stared at the photos. That was my face, my body, my clothes. But I had no memory of running, no memory of being covered in blood, no memory of anything except sitting at my desk, working on quarterly reports, living my normal, safe, predictable life. The Lazarus Project was designed to create enhanced human operatives, Gabriel continued, his voice gentle but relentless. Soldiers who could exist in multiple states of consciousness simultaneously, who could be programmed with false memories, false identities, false lives. Your father was horrified when he realized what they were really planning to do with his research. Stop. But the word came out as a whisper now, because something was stirring in the back of my mind. Fragments of memory that didn't belong to me, running through corridors that weren't in any building I'd ever seen, fighting with skills I'd never learned, blood on my hands that I'd never spilled. Your father tried to destroy the project, but he'd already used the serum on test subjects, including his own daughter. Gabriel's voice broke slightly. He was trying to reverse the effects when they killed him. He was trying to save you. The manila envelope slipped from his hands, and dozens of documents scattered across the sidewalk. Research notes in my father's handwriting, government memos with my name, redacted but still visible, medical reports detailing something called consciousness fragmentation and memory partition protocols. And at the bottom of the pile, a letter addressed to me in my father's careful script. My dearest Alyssa, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and they've activated you. I'm so sorry. I thought I could protect you from what I'd done. I thought I could find a way to undo it. You were never supposed to be their weapon. You were supposed to be my greatest achievement, a person who could exist fully in multiple realities, who could see truth where others see only illusion. But they twisted my work into something evil. They made you into their perfect sleeper agent, and I couldn't stop them. The woman you think you are, the financial analyst, the quiet neighbor, the grieving daughter. She's real, but she's only part of you. The other part, the part they trained and programmed and unleashed today, she's real too. And she's magnificent and terrible and everything I never wanted you to become. Find Gabriel, trust Gabriel, and remember, the truth is the most valuable currency in the world. Make them pay for what they've taken from us both. I read the letter 3 times before the words sank in, before the rage and grief and betrayal crystallized into something sharp and deadly in my chest. They'd stolen my father from me. They'd stolen my life from me. They'd turned me into a weapon and hidden it behind false memories and a manufactured identity, and they'd made me complicit in whatever horror had happened at Morrison and Associates today. What did I do today? My voice was barely human now, scraped raw with fury and pain. In the building, what did they make me do? Gabriel knelt to gather the scattered documents, but his movements were slow, reluctant. Morrison and Associates wasn't just your workplace, Alyssa. It was a front. The real business happened on the 15th floor, a continuation of the Lazarus Project. They were developing new serums, new programming techniques, creating more agents like you. And they sent me to stop it. They sent your activated persona to stop it. The Alyssa who's been sleeping in your subconscious for 17 years, the one with all the training and none of the emotional attachments. She was efficient. The word hung between us like a curse. Efficient. How many people had died because of my efficiency? How many families had been destroyed because of skills I didn't remember learning, training I didn't remember receiving? How many? 12 researchers, 3 security guards, 2 government liaisons. Gabriel's voice was clinical now, like he was reading from a report. Your activated persona also destroyed 17 years' worth of research data and stole approximately $40 million from various black budget accounts. Stole? The money has been distributed to the families of other Lazarus test subjects, other people whose lives were destroyed by this project. Gabriel finally met my eyes. You weren't just destroying the project, Alyssa. You were trying to make amends. I thought about Mrs. Chen's terror this morning, about her desperate plea for me not to go to work. She knew, my neighbor, she knew something was going to happen. Mrs. Chen isn't your neighbor. She's been your handler for the past 5 years, monitoring your progress, making sure your false identity remained stable. Gabriel's expression was grim. This morning was the first time she'd ever been given advance warning of an activation. I think she was hoping you'd stay home, hoping you'd fight the programming. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound. Mrs. Chen, who'd brought me soup when I was sick, who'd listened to me complain about work and dating and the million small frustrations of my manufactured life, who'd seemed like the only family I had left in the world. She'd been watching me, reporting on me, lying to me for 5 years. Everyone's been lying to me. The words came out as a growl. My whole life has been a lie, not your whole life. Gabriel stood up, clutching the documents to his chest. The feelings you have, the person you are when you're not activated, that's real. Your father made sure of that. Even when they were programming the operative, he protected your core personality. You're not just their weapon, Alyssa. You're also his daughter. His daughter who just murdered 15 people. His daughter who just destroyed a program that was turning children into killers. Gabriel's voice was fierce now. Those researchers weren't innocent, Alyssa. They knew what they were doing. They knew they were creating monsters, and they did it anyway because the government paid them well. And what about the security guards? What about the people who were just trying to do their jobs? Gabriel was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. I wish I could tell you they were all complicit, that everyone who died deserved it. But the truth is messy. The truth is that sometimes good people get hurt when we're fighting evil. Your father knew that. It's why he tried to find another way. But he couldn't. No, he couldn't. And now it falls to you to finish what he started. That's when we heard the sirens. Not police sirens. These were different. Military. And they were getting closer. They know you're activated now, Gabriel said, grabbing my arm. They know you remember. They'll try to retrieve you or eliminate you. And either way, you'll disappear forever. Maybe that's what I deserve. Your father didn't die so you could give up. The shout surprised both of us. Gabriel's calm facade cracked, revealing 17 years of grief and guilt and desperate hope. He died believing that someday you'd be strong enough to choose your own path. Don't prove him wrong. The sirens were louder now. I could see black vehicles turning the corner 3 blocks away, moving fast and purposeful. There's a safe house, Gabriel said, already moving. Your father prepared it years ago. Documents, money, everything you'll need to disappear or fight back. But we have to go now. I looked back at the Morrison and Associates building one more time. Somewhere in there, 15 people were dead because of me, because of what I'd been made into, because of choices I couldn't remember making. The rage was building again, white hot and consuming, not just at the people who'd used me, but at myself, at the part of me that had enjoyed the violence, that had felt satisfaction in destroying their research, at the part of me that was already calculating escape routes and threat assessments and kill zones. I can feel her, I whispered. The other me, she's still in here and she's angry. Good. Gabriel was running now, and I found myself keeping pace with him despite never having trained for this kind of speed. Let her be angry, channel that anger, use it. We ducked into an alley as the black vehicles screamed past. My heart was pounding, but not from exertion, from excitement. The operative in me was awake now, feeding me information I shouldn't have. The best route to avoid surveillance, the weak points in their vehicle armor, the 17 different ways I could kill someone with objects in this alley alone. How do I turn it off? I gasped. You don't. Gabriel pulled out a phone and started typing rapidly. You learn to control it. You learn to be both people at once. You learn to choose which one makes the decisions. And if I can't? Gabriel's fingers stilled on the phone. Then you become exactly what they wanted you to be. And your father's sacrifice means nothing. The safe house was a basement apartment in a part of town I'd never seen before. Gabriel led me down a narrow staircase to a reinforced door that opened with his thumbprint. Inside, the walls were covered with research notes, photographs, and documents going back decades. This is the real Project Lazarus, Gabriel said, switching on harsh fluorescent lights. Not the sanitized version they put in government reports. The real cost. The photographs were horrific. Children in hospital beds, their eyes vacant and strange. Teenagers who looked like me, hooked up to machines I couldn't identify. Adults in military uniforms with the same empty stare I'd seen in my own reflection today. How many? Over 200 test subjects, 97 confirmed dead, 63 missing, presumed eliminated, 39 still active. Gabriel pointed to a world map covered in red pins. Your father documented everything he could, every name, every experiment, every murder. I moved closer to study the photographs. Some of the children couldn't have been older than 10. All of them had that same haunted look, like part of their soul had been surgically removed. The serum doesn't just split consciousness, Gabriel continued. It fractures it. Most subjects can't handle the psychological pressure. They break down, become catatonic, or go completely insane. The ones who survive become perfect weapons, but they're not really human anymore. Except me. Except you. Your father modified the serum before they used it on you. He found a way to preserve your core personality while still creating the operative. You're the only test subject who remained fundamentally human. I found my own file in the stack of documents. Page after page of psychological evaluations, training reports, mission logs for operations I couldn't remember. According to these records, I'd been activated 17 times over the past decade. 17 times I'd done things that would horrify the woman I thought I was. I killed a senator, I read aloud, 3 journalists, a federal judge, a pharmaceutical executive, and his entire board of directors. All people who were either part of the project or threatening to expose it, Gabriel said quietly. The operative doesn't kill randomly. She has her own sense of justice. Justice? I threw the file across the room, papers scattering everywhere. This isn't justice. This is assassination. This is murder. And what would you call what they did to those children? What they did to you? The question hung in the air like smoke. I stared at the photographs of the other test subjects, at their hollow eyes and broken minds, and I felt something cold and terrible settling in my chest. They're still doing it, aren't they? Even after today, even after I destroyed their research, they're still making more children like this. Gabriel nodded grimly. The Morrison facility was just one branch. There are others, and they've been working on a new version of the serum, one that doesn't require the original subject to consent or even know what's happening to them. I thought about Mrs. Chen's terrified face this morning, about the man in the gray sedan watching our building, about the blocked phone calls and the files that appeared and disappeared from my computer. They were preparing to activate others. Yes, starting with the residents in your building. Mrs. Chen was supposed to dose the water supply yesterday, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Gabriel pulled out another file, this one marked with today's date. That's why they activated you, not just to destroy the Morrison facility, but to eliminate the failed handler and complete the building operation yourself. The operative in me immediately understood the tactical advantages. A residential building full of unwilling test subjects, no consent required, no ethical committees to satisfy, just ordinary people going about their lives, slowly being transformed into weapons without even knowing it. How many people live in my building? 47 adults, 12 children. I closed my eyes and tried to push down the rage, but it was like trying to contain a forest fire with a garden hose. They hadn't just stolen my life and murdered my father. They were planning to do the same thing to 47 more people, 12 more children. There's something else, Gabriel said softly. Your father left you a choice. He led me to a corner of the room where an old computer sat connected to banks of servers and monitoring equipment. The screen showed what looked like a global communications network, with data flowing between hundreds of nodes around the world. Before he died, your father created a dead man's switch, a program that would automatically release all the Project Lazarus files to every major news outlet in the world if activated. Government documents, research data, victim names, everything. It would expose the entire program and everyone involved. But activating it would also release the real identities and locations of every surviving test subject, including you. Some of them have managed to build normal lives, found some measure of peace. Others are still being controlled by the government. All of them would become targets. Gabriel pulled a small device from his pocket. It looked like a garage door opener, just a simple black box with a single red button. Your father wanted you to have the choice he never got. You can press this button and expose the truth to the world. Every family will know what happened to their children. Every journalist will have proof of what the government has been doing. But you'll also be painting a target on the back of every survivor. I took the device with trembling hands. Such a small thing to hold so much power. So much potential for justice or destruction. What happens if I don't press it? Then the program continues. More children disappear. More families are destroyed. and eventually, they'll perfect the serum to the point where they don't need test subjects at all. They'll be able to turn anyone into an operative without their knowledge or consent, like they were planning to do to my building. Exactly. I stared at the red button. Press it, and I'd be exposing dozens of innocent people to torture or death. Don't press it, and I'd be condemning hundreds more children to the same fate I'd suffered. What would my father do? Gabriel was quiet for a long moment. I think he'd tell you that the truth is the most valuable currency in the world, and that sometimes the cost of that currency is higher than we want to pay. But we pay it anyway because the alternative is living with lies forever. I thought about the 17 years I'd spent believing my father died in a car accident. 17 years of grief built on a foundation of lies. 17 years of thinking I was alone when I was actually being watched, controlled, used as a weapon against innocent people. The truth had destroyed my comfortable illusions, but it had also set me free. For the first time in my life, I understood who I really was. Not just the quiet financial analyst or the deadly operative, but both. A whole person forged from contradictions and pain and love and loss. The surviving test subjects, I said slowly, they deserve to know the truth too, don't they? They deserve to understand what was done to them. Yes, but they also deserve to live. Maybe they can't really live until they know the truth. I looked around the room one more time, at the photographs of broken children, at the research notes written in my father's careful handwriting, at the evidence of decades of systematic abuse and murder carried out by the people who were supposed to protect us. How long do I have before they find this place? Gabriel checked his phone. Maybe an hour. They're good, but your father was better. He taught me a few tricks. An hour to decide the fate of dozens of innocent people. An hour to choose between exposing the truth and protecting the survivors. An hour to determine whether my father's death would mean something or whether it would just be another tragedy in a long line of tragedies. I pressed the button. The computer screen immediately erupted with activity. Files transferring, connections establishing, data streaming to servers around the world, somewhere in newsrooms and government offices and basement hacker dens. People were receiving the proof of what Project Lazarus had really been. It's done, I whispered. Gabriel nodded grimly. Within 6 hours, every major news network will have the story. Within 12 hours, congressional hearings will be announced. Within 24 hours, the surviving test subjects will be the most wanted people in the world. And maybe, for the first time in 30 years, they'll also be free. I'm telling you this story now because in 3 hours, it's going to be on every news channel in the world. Project Lazarus will be exposed. The government officials who authorized it will be arrested. The researchers who participated will face justice. But the work isn't finished. There are still test subjects out there who don't know what was done to them. Still children being recruited for new versions of the program. Still families who don't know why their loved ones disappeared or died or came home fundamentally changed. If you're watching this, if you've made it this far, then you believe the truth matters. You believe that no government has the right to steal children and turn them into weapons. You believe that families deserve to know what happened to the people they lost. I need you to share this story. I need you to demand answers from your representatives. I need you to refuse to let this be buried in bureaucracy and classified hearings and official denials. Because somewhere out there is another 16-year-old girl whose father is about to be murdered for trying to protect her. Somewhere out there is another child being strapped to a table and injected with chemicals that will fracture their mind forever. and they're counting on us to care enough to stop it. My name is Alyssa Rowan. I am 33 years old. I am a financial analyst and a government-trained assassin. I am my father's daughter and their perfect weapon. I am the product of 17 years of lies and the keeper of 17 years of truth. I am what happens when you try to turn a human being into a tool and forget that tools can choose their own purpose. The truth is the most valuable currency in the world. I've paid the price for it in blood and betrayal, and the loss of everything I thought I knew about myself. Now it's yours. What are you going to do with it? Don't let them win. Don't let them steal any more children. Don't let them convince you that some secrets are too dangerous for the truth, because the only thing more dangerous than the truth is living without it. And I refuse to live that way anymore.